The mic is hot, the takes are real, Talin is here. Welcome to Said What I Said. From Hollywood to your headphones, she's bold, she's raw, she's Talin. And this is Said What I Said.
Said What I Said with Talin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Said What I Said with Talin. Today's guest is someone I've literally known my entire life. We grew up dancing together, spent years at competitions, conventions, and experienced many of those childhood, teenage years side by side. Since then, Hannah has gone from competitive dancer to NFL cheerleader for the Tennessee Titans while building a career in social media along the way. Today, we're talking about growing up in the dance world, chasing big dreams, confidence, comparison, social media, and what nobody tells you about pursuing a dream career. Everyone, please welcome Hannah Stutts.
Hi, guys. So happy to be here.
So excited to have you. Hannah and I go way back. We were literally saying it's probably been like a decade since we've seen each other, which is really crazy.
Really crazy. It's sad, but not even bittersweet. It's like full circle moment here to be on this podcast that you're doing. It's so incredible, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, we have so much to talk about, and we're going to start in the dance world because obviously that's where Hannah and I met. Mm-hmm. I was trying to like figure out exactly, like, was it like a Pulse or like a Camp Pulse convention or like where?
I think it was, especially, you know, for us being all the way in Alabama. I feel like where most of our connections out here was started at regional cities. So it had to be at a convention. So,
for sure. Yeah.
Because I can't even remember. That's how long it's been.
That's how long. I was like thinking about that. I was like trying to remember. I was like even asking my dad. And I was like, do you remember exactly like where we met them? And then he was like, I feel like it has to just have been one of the dance conventions for sure.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about the competitive dance world. I feel like unless you grew up in a competitive dance world, like it's almost impossible to explain like what that world actually looks like. Mm-hmm. We spent weekends at conventions, competitions, rehearsals, and auditions. And then like, it was just the most insane life ever. Mm-hmm. And looking back at it, it's a pretty intense environment that a lot of people don't really understand. So what's something people completely misunderstand about growing up in the competition dance world?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think you touched on it a lot. Like you said, it's a very abnormal lifestyle compared to like what most kids our age at that time grow up being. You know, for us, we still went to school. We did not homeschool. So we would leave on a Thursday night or a Friday morning and be gone all weekend long and either fly back late Sunday night, early Monday morning if that was for conventions or for auditions that we'd be sent on, especially because we were out of state and we were far away. So we had to allot for that time. But, you know, also, too, just the training aspect of it. I started up as a competitive dancer at a competition studio before I got into the commercial dance side of the industry. And even when I made my competition team, you know, you would get out of school right at 3 o'clock and you would rush to the studio and be there from 3:30 to 9 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And so then that you still have homework to do, you still have to eat dinner, barely get any sleep, get up and do it the next day. And then on weekends, you've got rehearsals, you've got a practice schedule. And so it's a grind. You know, I think it's hard, but I also think it teaches you very good skills, you know, going into the future and into the workforce and into your career that you don't realize like how much the structure of being a dancer helps you until like where we are now.
100%. I feel like everything we went through in our early years like really help us set ourselves up for our future life with knowing how to handle so much on our plate and balancing and putting priorities and like time management. Like all that stuff came from our dance years, which is insane.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We grew up in an era where everyone was chasing the next opportunity, whether it was a convention scholarship, an agency signing, a tour, a job. Do you think that environment motivated you or created more pressure?
I think it was very motivating. I will say this. I got signed when I was just turning 15. And so I was always a more mature looking teenager than my age. So I kind of entered the hardcore like agency industry years and what they would call your training years. So for a lot of, I feel like for girls also like 15 to 18 sometimes, if you look older like I did, that's kind of considered your training years. So I think at that point it was a little bit frustrating for me, for myself, because I felt like, oh, like sometimes I look too old to like book Disney things, but like I'm 16, 17, like I'm not legal 18 yet, so I like can't book, like I'm in this like weird in between like awkward area. And so that's like where I would have a little bit of, just like doubt within myself and a little bit of that like pressure, like, oh my gosh, like I can't book a job, like I can't, I get cut based off of appearance first before we even start dancing. So I think that was hard, but it also was like, kind of like lit a fire under me as well to like want to go do more and want to be more as soon as I was able to audition for jobs that were a little bit more my age.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, I want to talk about too a little bit like the dance conventions, like Pulse and Camp Pulse, like specifically, because there was like the whole thing of being like was it a camp mentor? What's the exact word for it? I'm trying to remember.
So there was like Camp Pulse and Pulse. And so Camp Pulse, I guess they were called camp counselors.
Yes.
And that was like equivalent to like what proteges were for the Pulse.
Yes.
And then I think, my first year, I was like what they call a lead counselor. So that was like equivalent to an elite protege.
Yes. So, yeah. Which was so crazy that they had that like at the conventions. I remember just going to a dance convention and like not really understanding that whole concept. I was like, oh, like I know these people, but like why are they on stage like teaching with the choreographer? Like what's going on here? But then you like realize, you kind of learn more as you go to more of the conventions, like, oh, but like to be one of those, like a protege or elite protege or a camp counselor or the lead camp counselor was like everything.
Oh yeah.
At that time. Like if you were like, I'm sorry, but like you just weren't cool. Like it was like kind of mean, but like, I feel like that's what it was. But that was a crazy time period for sure.
Yeah, it was. I will say that is really what kind of like shaped the trajectory of like our dance careers. And for us, like I said, we didn't live in LA, didn't live in New York. We did not have access to like all of the back-to-back auditions, and so for us to kind of like get into the commercial dance industry, that was like the door that opened for us. And what a blessing it was to have that at the same time though, because if it wasn't for that convention with that scholarship, like we would have never like met you or like met any of our other friends or like have done all the incredible things that we've been able to do. For sure. So it's cool, but it was a grind, and it's something, some of our best memories, I'll say that.
Absolutely. Was there ever a point where your identity became tied to being the dancer?
Oh, absolutely. And I will say that's something that I still struggle with to this day. Mm-hmm. Growing up, if we're looking at it from a school perspective, I just started out as a dancer and would compete. But then as we grew up and got more invested within the dance industry and the dance world, that was a bigger and more time commitment. I started missing things at school. I missed like middle school and high school dances, which I was totally fine with doing. But it, kind of got into that track, like, oh, like Hannah's always like at a competition or at a convention or she's at an audition, like she's never around. Right. And then kind of leading into college too, I was on a dance team there. And so that was my identity. That was a sport. Like I was considered a student athlete at that point. So I'd say, hi, my name's Hannah Stutts. Like, I'm on the dance team here. Like, that was, like, the title you had. Right. And so, and then going on to the pro world, that title has continued to follow me. And so it does, I was always the dancer and have always been the dancer. And that can be hard, kind of getting past that label at times.
For sure. And what's a lesson from dance that, like, has still impacted the way you approach, like, life today?
Oh, gosh. I will say, I think for me, the structure of it, we were always taught if you're on time, you're late, and if you're early, you're on time. And I think that applies to everything in life, showing up early to auditions or to classes, the structure of, you give it your all, 110% in each and every class, and you take that into whatever career field that you're working in. For as crazy of a lifestyle and crazy as an upbringing as it is, I feel like there's been definitely more positives coming out of it than negatives. There's a lot of negatives, right. I will say, but I look back and I'm so thankful for the life I had growing up in the dance world, because it truly has like shaped who I am today and has allowed so many doors to open for me that I probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for that upbringing.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the big things that people don't talk about enough too is like the role that our parents also played
Absolutely.
into it, you know? And we were the ones like on the stage, but there's so many sacrifices happening behind the scenes that we don't even realize at the time.
Right.
So looking back at it now, what's something your parents sacrificed that you didn't fully appreciate maybe at the time?
Oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. I truly have the best parents, and we were just talking about that
Yeah.
like before this. We just have two. We come from both like such incredible families, and like what a blessing it is that we have them in our corners.
Yeah.
But gosh, my parents dropped their entire lives for me and my brother to chase this dream. You know, they would. I mean, financially, it was such an investment to to dance, but as well as they weren't having social or going to social functions with their friends all the time. Like, any sort of dream that we had, an idea, they were like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Their rule was, we don't care if you're dancing, if you're playing soccer, or if you're cross stitching. Like, all that we ask is that you give your 110% and you love what you do, and we will do everything in our power to provide the resources for you to get to that point. And so, you don't realize how much your parents sacrifice and do for you until you're living on your own and trying to bring in your own income and create a life for yourself, and you just don't realize. I mean, even I was telling Talin, so this is our first trip to LA without my family here, and I've never driven in LA. And let me tell you, just having my mom to drive me to every class and audition, I called her, I was like, I just never thanked you enough for just like even being a parent, like getting us around point A to point B. I mean, Nashville definitely has prepared me to drive in this traffic, but even small things like that, you just don't realize the stress and the anxiety that your parents take off from you also.
For sure.
Even because it can be a pretty intense culture too.
Absolutely. And just living in LA, the dance environment, everything is always 10 times more pressure and stressful.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I am so thankful that we had such amazing parents who were by our side to support us in our dreams. And they were quite literally at everything that we were at.
Everything. And
you name it.
And I'm sure, with what all you're doing now, same way. But not only did that trickle within, jobs that you booked, shows that you had, my parents, I think they might have missed like one, maybe two of my football games, like all 4 years of college. And that was like home or travel games that we went to, basketball games, baseball, and then in the pros too. Like, they were there for everything. And that, I do realize that's such a sacrifice. And for that, like, I'm forever indebted to them.
Oh, that's the best. Shout out to the parents. We love you. We love you. What's kind of the best piece of advice your parents have given you, like, growing up?
I love this question because I get asked this a lot too, especially in the roles that I've had the last couple of years. And I think the best advice that they've given me is, when you get to where you're going, where you accomplish that dream, whatever it might be, turn around and help the person behind you, because there was people before you that, went through the trenches with you or provided resources or opened doors or made calls or did something that helped you get to where you are. And do the same for the next person behind you. And that is something that lives with me and I'll take forever. And I'm so grateful for that advice, and just because they do that and seeing them do that makes me want to do that for others. And so,
oh, I love that. That's so real. And that's what we need more of.
Absolutely.
I feel like in this time and age. So I think that's so beautiful. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned to continue our conversation.
Said what I said with Talin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Said What I Said with Talin. We're going to continue our conversation today with Hannah. So we were just talking about having parent support, and it's honestly just such a gift. But growing up in a performance-based environment can also make your identity really tied to what you do. And I think one thing people don't talk about enough is that when you're identified by a talent from a young age, it can be difficult separating who you are from what you do. So has there ever been moments where you had to rediscover Hannah outside of dance, cheerleading, or social media?
Absolutely. To be quite honest with you, feel like that's the part of life that I'm in right now. I just finished 2 seasons cheering in the NFL. And so prior to that, I've been basically holding a pair of pom-poms for the last 9 years. And that's just kind of this dance team era that I've been in. That's not the whole era before that of dance. And so post-grad has been a very eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah.
Because whenever I'm not in uniform or not holding a pair of poms, so to say, I sometimes to forget like who I am and like what makes me special and what things I can bring to the table. But also it's such a beautiful part of life as well because I'm rediscovering who I am like outside of it. And, you know, we can dance for the rest of our lives, but no one's body will, you know,
Yeah.
be able to hold up that long. So dance is not a forever thing. So it's been very rewarding to see what I love to do like outside of it, like hobbies or trends. And
Yeah.
it's allowed me to, you know, I got my degree in broadcast digital journalism. And so that's kind of the world I've been recently stepping into since retiring a couple months ago is just, you know, falling in love with sports again and pushing myself in the creative aspect to see like, I would love to, you know, pursue a career in sports one day and just also do like sideline reporting,
Yeah.
broadcasting. So
I love that.
it's hard because, you know, I'm sure you have days too where it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not on a dance team anymore. So like no one cares. Like I don't have anything cool to talk about. And that's so not true at all.
Yeah, for sure. I know I can relate to that too because I've stepped away from dance for quite some time now too. And like I remember in the beginning, it felt so just like weird. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like I always tell people, oh yeah, I'm a dancer, da da da. And even on social media, I was doing so much dance
Oh, yeah.
videos for a very long point in time. I think up until like a year after COVID had ended, I was doing that. And then after that, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do now? But,
Yeah.
you know, I realized I had so many other different passions and interests that I had. So I really got to like tap into all that stuff with fashion and like lifestyle content creating and stuff. So I think it's really great. Like where we started, like dance was definitely a really good foundation for us, but it
Absolutely.
also helped us like open up our eyes to so many other possibilities that we're capable of doing. And we'll still always love dance. Like the same thing, maybe we're not like, that's not part of our life anymore, but it's still going to be like within us,
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. For sure. Dance could never get rid of me.
What's something you've learned about yourself in your 20s that younger Hannah would be surprised by?
Oh my gosh. Wow. I would say I've learned a lot about myself. I think I've shocked my ways in more ways than not. I have learned to become a very independent person, probably too independent at times, I will say. So normally I used to be such a scaredy cat of everything, even being alone. And I've found so much joy in waking up every day and being like, all right, what does Hannah want to do today? And like do it. And so I think younger me would be like, absolutely not, no, never. But I live in a city that I didn't know all that many people first moving to. I've, you know, planted my roots there and have a great community now. But just living on my own, traveling the country, the world on my own is something I never could have seen myself doing. And so pretty proud of myself.
I love that. No, that's awesome. I feel like your mid-20s are really that time where you get to like explore yourself and just really be independent. And it is definitely scary at first.
Yeah.
But it's like as time goes on, we really start to like, I feel like have a different appreciation in life and just love ourselves more in a different way that maybe we didn't before. Now, I feel like the idea of identity becomes even more interesting when you step into something as competitive as NFL cheerleading, because now you're entering a whole nother environment where performance, appearance, and expectations all play a role. So a lot of people see the NFL cheerleading and assume it's like showing up on game day, just dancing on the sidelines, but there's an audition process alone. Sometimes most people know very little about that as well.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that. What point did NFL cheerleading become something that you wanted to pursue?
Okay, I love telling this story because it's very funny. Like I said, grew up in a studio background, did commercial dance. I was on a job for Disneyland my senior year of high school. And at this point, I'm still thinking, I'm coming out to LA, I'm moving here. I'm still going to go to college, but I'm going to make it work. That's what's going to happen. And we were down in Orange County, and me and my mom were driving to the studio, and I was like, Mom, I don't think I'm ready to do this. Like, I don't think I'm ready to chase this dream quite yet. So fast forward, I end up going to Mississippi State University, a college I grew up, not only a fan as my mom went there, a lot of my family went there, and so it was always a place of home. And I was on the dance team there all 4 years. And it was actually my college coach that kind of brought the NFL cheerleading idea into my perspective. And it was, we have mid-season and end-of-season check-ins every year. And it was the mid-season check-in of my sophomore year, right in like 2020, that COVID year. And she was like, have you ever considered like going pro? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, like, have you ever tried, want to try out for an NFL team? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh no. I was like, I came from the commercial dance industry, like LA, New York, like auditions. And I was like, if I choose to continue to dance, like, that's what I'm going to do after college. Like, I'll go right back there.
Right.
And she was like, okay, well, like, just think about it. Like, look at a couple things, think about it. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, there is a convention called Pro Action Dance, and it is where college and pro teams will go in the summers, and it's 2 to 3 days of, they bring in all choreographers and they give out material that you can learn and take that back to your team and teach it and adjust it to how you need to be. Anywho, and so I actually got to go to Pro Action 3 of the 4 years there, which was a big honor on the team, especially to go that young. And that was my first exposure to like pro teams and pro coaches and just a whole different world.
Yeah.
And I just had it on my mind. And then as I progressed on through college, I was like, okay, maybe I want to do this. Like, this is the one part of the dance world I haven't really tapped into. And so I give her the credit for putting it in my head, because if it wasn't, I would have never considered trying out.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
Yeah,
That's
sophomore
insane.
year.
Wow. That's like it's so young.
Oh, yeah.
What was like, oh my gosh, like what part of that like whole process kind of like surprised you the most?
Oh, gosh. I'll say this. This is what I've learned is that, well, first off, every team is different and unique in their own way. And it is very crucial and important that you do your research on those teams, because every team specializes in certain styles. They appeal to certain audiences, depending upon where you're at in the country. Obviously, cheering is a lot of your life, but you have a lot more life to live outside of that. You have to love like what city you're going to be moving to. Obviously, if you can find work there, you can't financially support yourself just cheering. You have to have another job. And so a lot goes into it. It's not just like, oh, this team has really pretty uniforms.
Right.
Like, let me just go try out for them. Like, there is so much that goes into it.
Yeah, and a lot of people really like don't see that. So what was like the biggest challenge mentally, like with going through the whole audition process, being on the team and everything?
Yeah, I will say my pro team and my college team had a lot of similarities, but there was a lot of differences too.
Yeah.
I will say I think the biggest thing is just, in college you're still looked at as like, oh, like they're little college kids, like they could be younger, but it's a much mature crowd when it gets to pros.
Yeah.
And even just like, I think the biggest thing is like safety things too. I remember in college, the fan engagement and working within the community is like such a big part of the job.
Right.
Because essentially you're not just a cheerleader for a team, you're a brand ambassador for an organization. And what I learned, another funny story, my first game ever. So in the pros, like, you have security, you have Apex officers that go with you to and from appearances just for like your safety.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the craziest thing at first. And I was like, what? Like, I don't need security to escort me, but it is crazy, just because, it's physical appearance is like such a big thing within the pros.
Yeah.
And so you're on a much like bigger stage and much larger crowds. And so you just like things that you like don't think about in college, like just for your safety and just like the way that you go about like these big cities and these ginormous fan bases of like people coming all over and they're crazy and
Right.
That was just like a whole new world that I was not prepared for at first.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it's super intense.
Yeah.
I mean, to have like security guards like
Yeah.
being by your side is
At all times. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. And how do you stay confident in an environment where you're constantly just like being evaluated?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very hard, and I had more moments than not the last 2 years where I found myself not being confident. I think us as dancers kind of put on that persona, like fake it till you make it. Yeah. And a lot of dancers seem like such confident human beings when in not they're really like struggling, but you have to put a face on, right. You are what a lot of people, like their first interaction with like a pro team is, whether it's like pregame, out taking pictures with fans, you have to be camera ready at all times. And so you're kind of in a constant mindset of, do I look okay? Like, is my hair colored the right way? Like, is my makeup done? Like, is my nails done? Like, I gotta get a spray tan. Like, there's so much that goes into it. Yeah. And, if you're having an off day or feel like you're a little bit bloated, like, when you try out, what you're getting yourself into. And a lot of the uniforms, you might not feel great in it that day. And that's something that then you start to compare yourself to teammates or you compare yourself to other teams. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not good enough to be doing this. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I look terrible out. And then when mentally you start to struggle, then you aren't performing to the best of your abilities. And then it's just, a cycle from there. Yeah. So it is hard. It's very hard. It's very hard.
And what's something you would tell someone, like, that they completely misunderstood, like, about the NFL cheerleading in general?
This is something that I tell if you're, like, on a collegiate dance team as well, is we make our job look so easy. And a lot of people just assume that we stand on the sideline and stand pretty and shake pom-poms and smile really big, but I don't think a lot of people understand what it takes to make these teams. Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 800 girls, guys as well, try out for these pro teams, and they only have, some teams, they have a team of 40. What's unique about my team is I was on a team of 28. So we were like one of the smallest teams. And not only that, we were split, which I think is really cool and specific to my program, is that we were dance and co-ed stunt. So we had roles for both. So our organization gave cheerleaders an opportunity to continue at the next level. But that meant less spots. So there was only 18 spots for dancers on our team. And so there's a lot of pressure in that. Yeah. Like I said, advice-wise, do your research. But for people that might not know what it takes to become an NFL cheerleader, the physical strain on your body, it only gets harder. It doesn't get easier the older you get, but, you have to physically stay in shape, physically keep up your appearance just as much as your dancing abilities. So it's a full thing. Yeah. For sure.
And then you have, like, game days, like, almost like every other weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like, and that's another thing. Again, all based on your research. Does your team play in an indoor and outdoor stadium? Ours is an outdoor stadium currently. Our new one is set to be finished next season. But for us, like, our uniforms is, at the time, they were latex, long sleeve latex.
Oh my goodness.
And so if you can imagine the heat in the South, for a preseason game in August, at a noon kickoff, you, like, let's just say that it feels like when you're on the field, just imagine, like, the biggest blow dryer you can ever find is, like, just blowing straight down on you. Like, sweat is pouring and you're still, if you're down 2 touchdowns, you're still smiling big, crazy. Whoa. Crazy. There's insane. So much that goes into it but again, we're taught as dancers to make it look so effortlessly that people just think it's like anyone can do it.
Exactly.
But that is not the case.
That's not the reality, everybody. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned to continue our conversation today.
Said what I said with Talin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Said What I Said with Talin. We're going to continue our conversation today with Hannah. So we were just talking about the NFL cheerleading and what people really don't see behind the scenes. I think people see the final result, but they're rarely seeing the amount of rejection, discipline, and work that really goes into getting there. And I think what's interesting is that the NFL cheerleading has become so much more visible over the past few years. People who have never paid attention maybe before suddenly watching the documentaries, the reality shows, and following the teams online. And I feel like a huge part of that was the Dallas Cowboys cheerleading with their documentary and reality show that came out. And everyone who like who didn't know maybe about football, like just became really suddenly like invested into everything. They're like, whoa, like what is this, you know? So do you think these shows have changed how people view NFL cheerleading?
Oh, absolutely. I can't tell you how many times if someone finds out that I'm an NFL cheerleader, their first thing is it anything like the Dallas Cowboys tryouts? That's people's biggest concern, question, what they want to know. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, it's reality TV, so that plays a part into it. But I'm like, yeah, it's that intense of a process. It is that much of a long haul. Girls start prepping years in advance to try out for that team or whatever team that it might be. So what you see is almost what you get.
Yeah. Has it changed like expectations for girls like auditioning today?
I think it has, yes. And maybe not necessarily like the show, but I think, and this applies to, I feel like every asset in life, social media has completely changed the game, especially in regards to, you know, trying out for an NFL cheer team. You know, the pros of social media is you're able to network, first off. You're able to, you know, when you're in prep classes or when you're filming stuff, you're able to post all of that or have it saved. Like, that's just, the more they see, the more, you know, when you're trying out for teams, if they're kind of like looking at your social media beforehand, they're like, okay, like this is the kind of dancer she is. Like, could she match our program or like, could she not? But also too, that's again, something that you need to take account for is they are stalking your social medias. It's like I just said, you know, you're not just a dancer. Like, you are a brand ambassador for an organization.
Right.
You have to be able to have public speaking abilities. You have to be able to go out into a community and talk about the company, not just like the players or what's going on, you know, after a Sunday, Monday, Thursday game. You're a lot of people, the only interaction they get with, you know, the Titans or the Cowboys or the Chargers, like whoever it might be, you're their only, you know, you're the only person they might meet. And so with that comes a lot of pressure. So social media most definitely has changed it. I think it's kind of created like a bandwagon effect also. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I can do that. Because again, like shows like us, we're able to like kind of glamorize what we do. But then when you get in the nit gritty of it, it's like, oh, wow. Like, this is crazy.
No, for sure. And it's definitely so interesting because like I feel like, are people like fully comparing like when they come audition, like just say for like the Tennessee Titans, like are they like, oh, like we thought it was going to be more like this, but it's like different, you know, because like every organization does auditions and everything so much differently, you know?
Yeah, I think yes. And you know, this is a lot of we had a lot of conversations about this like after like with former teammates of mine, you know, because to make a pro team, there's not like a linear approach. Like you can go about it in all different kinds of ways. I had teammates and there are cheerleaders from all different types of backgrounds. You know, you have your competitive dancers, you have commercial dancers, you have kids that grew up in, you know, I had friends and teammates that did like cruise ship lines or did like, you know, Disney World, like you have people from everywhere. And so it's not just like you grow up, you go to studio, you dance in college, poof. There's a lot of people that didn't dance in college or maybe not have made their college's dance team, but still were very talented and went on to try out for another team. And so there's that. Yeah.
And how do you feel like the visibility, like, do you think it's been a positive thing overall, like with them coming out with the documentary and kind of showing everyone behind the scenes of what really happens?
I do. And I won't get too much into this because, again, it's literally different for every organization. I think a lot of positives is another thing that people, the second question they ask me if after they ask like, oh, is it like the show, is they want to ask about like pay, and like that can be like a sensitive subject to talk about, but you know, when you sign your contract, you know what you're signing up for.
Right.
But most, if not all, cheerleaders have to have 1, 2, maybe 3 jobs outside of it, depending upon what city you're in. Like, it's expensive to live these days. And so I think, you know, a big thing on one season of the show is I think people are wanting to advocate more for like cheerleaders being paid for like what they deserve and like the time that they put into it. and just like also recognizing and highlighting how like talented and how much of an athlete like NFL cheerleaders are.
Yeah.
You know, a big conversation because I work a lot with like college teams too, and one of my jobs that I do is with a convention, and so it's trying to create that same experience for collegiate cheerleaders and dancers the way that other collegiate athletes get, you know.
Yeah.
I think it goes back, a big booming thing these days right now is like dance teams, like UDA's big, NDA's big. Again, social media has helped highlight that, and people are, oh my gosh, like it's the dance Super Bowl, like come January or
Right.
February, and people that know
Yes.
nothing about dance like get
Right.
invested into it as well because of social media.
Yeah.
And so perks of, you know, Dallas having their Netflix show is being able to like advocate and highlight and show the world like what really goes on and what the process is like to
Yeah.
earn your boots or earn your palms or
For sure.
earn the field.
Yeah. And I think it is really great too because a lot of people really don't understand to like the full extent of like what it is to be an NFL cheerleader, like we talked about in the beginning. Like they just think it's, oh, you just go on the sidelines and you just dance for a game and that's it. But it's like, no, like you are fully now advocating and speaking for this organization everywhere you go, and what you're posting online matters a lot too, because like they look at all of those things too, and they want to make sure they have the best person representing their organization wherever they are. Like they could be out of the country, like at a grocery shop, like if someone runs into them, like how are they gonna like carry and present themselves, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think what makes these conversations too is so interesting, like, is that underneath all of it is something almost everyone can relate to, which is comparison. And whether it's dance, cheerleading, social media, relationships, we're constantly seeing what everyone else is doing.
Right.
And I think comparison has become such a huge part of our modern culture. So how do you personally avoid getting caught up in comparison?
You know, I'll say I get caught up in it. I would be lying if I said that I didn't. It's very easy to glamorize your life on social media. It's very easy to make it like you were just living life to the fullest, and you might not necessarily be doing that. And I find myself when feel like I'm in an identity crisis or feel like I'm behind the 8 ball, I like will get on social media and think, oh my gosh, this person's doing this person's doing this, like I'm not here yet, I'm not doing this, like, and then you just like spiral. And for me, it's a lot of just, and I'm not good at doing this, I will be the first to admit, and it's something I need to work on, but just putting your phone down, you know?
I agree.
It's kind of the only way to get away from it, because social media has been such a positive in so many ways, but it's also such a negative thing too.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it's so great to be able to connect and like keep up and have resources literally at your fingertips, but the comparison and the self-doubt that it drives from that is just, some days I'm just like, I have to walk away from my phone because I'm getting distracted, and then I've sat 2-3 hours doom scrolling and comparing when I could have been working out or learning something or teaching myself something or just like doing something that's like would make me better. And so I fall guilty to it. I'm the first to say, so just putting it down, walking away.
I'm right there with you. Honestly, it's a hard thing to do. And it's like, as we get older and like with social media just being such a constant thing in everyone's day-to-day life going forward, it's so hard to like just find a little disconnection and just like come back to reality of knowing, okay, I may not be where this person is or like where these other people are at right now, and that's okay, you know, like everyone has a different path and timeline, and we just have to stay true to ourselves and not let that outside noise kind of drive us away from our true dreams and passions and what we want to do.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned to continue our conversation.
Said what I said with Talin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Said What I Said with Talin. We're going to continue our conversation with Hannah. So social media creates this weird dynamic where people feel like they know you, but they're really only seeing a small percentage of your life. So when did social media become more than just something fun for you?
So it started for me in college. I told myself I was never going to download TikTok. When it switched from Musical.ly to TikTok, I said no. My brother was like, please do it. And I was like, nope, I'm not falling. Nope, I'm not doing it. And he was like, just download the app and do one video. And I was like, whatever. I did one. It was Thanksgiving of my freshman year of college. We were getting ready for, we call it the Egg Bowl. The rival colleges, the two big colleges in Mississippi, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they normally play on Thanksgiving. And so I had my little warm-up on, and I was like, I'll do a fun little TikTok dance, and it posted it. And at that time, almost all videos could make it on the For You page, I think.
For sure.
And explode. But I got an unusual amount of views for that video, and he was so mad too, because he was an avid Musical.ly kid. I mean, he did all the effects, would put so much time into it.
Right.
Same way with TikTok, and he was so mad that I just did on the one, so it was kind of a joke. And then COVID, we had nothing better else to do, so I was like just putting out content, 3-4 videos a day left and right. I was doing every TikTok dance known to man. And then progressively, as I went through college, I started to gain more of a following then, because a lot of my following is people that want to see that journey of being on a collegiate dance team, or, you know, whatever that might entail with that. And so it wasn't until my senior year that brands started reaching out to me, wanting to work together, wanting to send me things, wanting to have me highlight stuff like on game day, like do like day in the life. So I was like, wow, like I could make a living from this. And so that from then on is kind of where the transition switched. And I was like, okay, guess we're jumping in this world.
I guess we're getting on this
right now. I don't know how I got here from that one funny TikTok video, but here we are.
I feel like we both have like very similar stories. Like my experience was kind of the same thing with getting onto social media and just kind of like, all right, now we're gonna ride this wave now. Like these brand deals are coming in. Like now I have management reaching out, like wanting to manage me. I'm like, what is this life? But like, you know what? We're just gonna roll with it.
Exactly.
Do you feel like social media has made you more self-aware, more self-critical?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll touch on this a little second. My junior and senior year, I was a little bit sick in college. I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, not once or twice. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but what it is a neurological thing. And so essentially like the nerves in your face freeze. And every diagnosis is different. It can be a couple days, it could be a couple months. And so luckily I did not have any permanent damage, but being in a career field where you're either always in front of the audience or always in front of a camera, those moments are always captured. And it's funny, I find myself now, the average person could not realize it, but like for myself, I can see it. There's days where I'm like, I swear my smile is like a little bit slanted, or like one eye shuts more than the other. And so because I'm so actively on social media all the time and filming myself, whether it's for just like the fun of it for personally, or if I'm doing it for brands, or if I'm doing it for my team or my companies, you know, I find myself being so nitpicky. Now as I'm stepping more into this broadcasting career, I'm doing a lot of interviews, I'm going out and about, and I know we're talking about it, I catch myself like saying filler words and doing this and talking with my before I flew out here, I was filming a segment for my job, and we had to refilm something like 5 times because I guess I just had a lot of energy that day, and I started doing weird stuff with my hands, and it's like things that the average person wouldn't even think about, like we hyperfixate on.
Right. No, it's so true. It's so funny too. It's like I feel like me too, like on social media, it's like I'm always like, it's very hard to like not critique yourself and just like you're looking at a camera like 24/7, like
all the time.
It's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's kind of alarming in some ways too.
At some point you're like, is this healthy? Like this doesn't seem right.
I'm like, is this okay? I'm like looking at a mirror like literally all day every day. My mom sometimes she's like, I swear it's Talin, she's like, you're always just like on your phone. I'm like, well, that's kind of become my job, you know?
I know, literally if I had my phone with me I got a text last night from my mom that said, "Get off your phone, like enjoy life." And I was like, "Oh, she's right." But like, I
she's
can't
so
even
right.
get mad because she's right.
No, exactly. And honestly, thank God for our parents
Yeah.
to like remind us that, because if not, we're so like locked in, like we're just not even thinking about that, you know?
Absolutely.
Is there any like funny assumptions you've got like on social media, like from someone like that they've made about you?
Okay, this is really weird. I would consider myself to be like of average height. I'm like 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah.
But when I meet people that say we follow each other on social media or they see me out, they're like, "Oh my gosh, we just thought you were so tall." And like, and I was like, what? No, I have like the world's like shortest legs. Like I'm the most like awkwardly built person ever. But it's funny. And I was like, oh, it's just a one-time thing. And everyone I knew that I meet, they're like, "Oh, we just thought you were like really tall in person." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, maybe my friends are really short." I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is.
That's so funny because I get the same assumption
Yeah.
too. I think like it's maybe the angles we're posting. Like I
Yeah.
make myself look 10 times taller than I really am. I'm like, I'm 5'3" over here.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Nope,
they're
not
like,
tall.
"Oh my gosh, I thought you were like almost 6 foot." I'm like, what?
I mean, like I'm
where?
flattered, but
I'm like,
I do
"Thank
not
you,
see
though."
it. Yep.
That's so funny. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna get into our Said What I Said segment.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna ask you a few things, like don't overthink it, just the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
One thing people don't realize about chasing your dream career is
Sacrifice, and you have to let go of a lot of things along the way. And I was reading something the other day that, and what I'm learning in this stage of life now, we all have a different calling. We're all on a different path. We all have different dreams and careers. And you encounter a lot of people along the way. A lot of people you might think are people you're going to take with you for the rest of your life. And sometimes you have people that are there for just a short period of time. And I feel like I'm really in a state now where I'm learning that I'm on this path and people are coming and going. And some people are like staying in my car with me and some people hop in and hop out.
Right.
And just being able to, as you mature, know that it's not necessarily for a bad thing. It's just like sometimes there are certain people in certain places that you are for just small periods of time, and that's kind of like what's going to get you to your end goal one day.
Yeah.
But just being able to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. I love that. The next one is an opinion I have about comparison culture that people may disagree with.
That people would disagree with, and I don't even know if I'm going to answer this question right, but this is like what comes to my mind, is at the end of the day, life is very short, and we are never given tomorrow. And I think when we are in that state of comparison, we are always looking at the larger in life things. And a saying that I truly like to live my life by and try and wake up and do every day is life's about like the small moments in life, the little things, whether it be like waking up to watch the sunrise or writing a handwritten note to someone that you care about, or sending a text these days, or just doing like small things.
Yeah.
I just think that we get caught up in the moment way too quickly about things that don't matter at all, that won't matter a year from now, much less like tomorrow. And so I think, and I'm like fall guilty of it too, is, you know, yes, the larger in life things are amazing, but just living for the small things and living where your feet are at.
That was so beautiful. I love that. I could almost get emotional you saying that, because it's like so true. It's like, like we have to be so thankful for every day that we get on this life. Like literally tomorrow is never guaranteed, and we're always so caught up in everything that we have, like with our jobs and our careers and everything. And sometimes like all those little things don't even matter, you know?
Right.
It's just like the little things and reminding the people we love that we love them, like just the littlest things. So I think that's so beautiful. And like, I'm going to take that advice from you as well. And the last thing is, one thing I wish I could tell my younger self before entering the industry is.
I get it now because we're older, and you know, choreographers or educators or parents, they told you this, you know, a no is not no for forever and a no is not life-changing. And if I could go back, I am so thankful for every no that I got, because, you know, it's kind of like that saying, or not the butterfly effect, but you know how there's like one decision looking back, if you would have done something differently, would have just completely changed your life.
Yeah.
And I'm just like so thankful for all the yeses, but more so the nos, because I wouldn't be where I am today, and I would have not had the experiences that I have if it weren't for those nos. And that also, and my mom always tells us this, is that rejection is protection. And from things that we might not even know have happened. And so I am just thankful just for the journey and for, you know, even the auditions that I would walk into and literally be cut before we even start dancing just because they were trying to like fit a role or something. I'm so thankful for it because it got me where I am today, but it also gave me that experience because some of those same things, like tying it back to the pros, is it's not always about who's the best dancer in the room. It's about a role they're trying to fill, a look they're trying to find. And that made my process in both college and pros so much easier because of that experience I had at a very younger age.
I love that. Everything happens for a reason.
It does.
And we just gotta keep going and things will work out the way they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us today. I really loved our conversation, and I hope everyone out there, you could take something from this. And if you wanted a little glimpse into the NFL life, we gave that to you today.
Yes.
But I'm so excited to see what you do next. You're such an amazing person, and you work so hard. So I can't wait to see what you're doing, and everything will work out for the best and for your future. So I'm so excited. And make sure you guys follow Hannah along on socials to keep up with her life, because she has so many amazing things coming her way. She don't know yet, but it's coming. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Said What I Said, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
The mic is hot. The takes are real. Talin is here. Welcome to Said What I Said. From Hollywood to your headphones, she's bold, she's raw, she's Talin. And this is Said What I Said.
Said what I said with Talin.